Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 4, Episode 31 of the Juco Editz podcast. Tonight I'm joined by Kevin Mannell, Nebraska pitcher. Kevin, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Most definitely, man. I'm really looking forward to hearing your story, and I really appreciate you for taking the time out of your day.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so Kevin, first off, I want you to talk to me about playing at Topeka Seaman High School.
Yeah, so ended up transferring there during COVID. I was at a little bit smaller school. Had some buddies there and decided to transfer there. And yeah, I mean, we had a really good year. Ended up losing, I believe, first round of state. But yeah, I mean, we had a pretty good year. So.
So in high school, you were the number 21 overall prospect, number 4 right-handed pitcher. You went 6-2 with a 0.45 ERA with 40 strikeouts. What was your recruitment like out of high school?
Yeah, so it was pretty slow for a while. And then I ended up doing a few camps the fall of my junior year. And ended up I got my first offer at from Pitt State when Coach Fernelli was there. And actually at the time I was a catcher, but kind of pitched a little bit on the side. Ended up throwing there and threw well in my bullpen. And the pitching coach gave me a call and I was like, well, is this for catching or pitching? And he's like, it's for pitching. I was like, okay, so I guess I'm a pitcher now. So yeah, and then during COVID, we ended up playing in a little league at down in Creekside in Kansas City, new complex at the time. And yeah, just kept throwing, was doing well and had a few offers, but ended up choosing K-State out of high school. So
So you go to K-State right after that, and then I want you to talk to me about your time in Manhattan.
yeah, so got there pretty much the start of the summer. As soon as we got done with high school, I was there within a week or two. Just ha ended up having a pretty good fall. Was throwing well, and coaches were pretty confident in me. And then, unfortunately, came back into the start of winter and spring ball, just not really throwing very well. So ended up getting redshirted, and then towards the end of my freshman year, I ended up having a bone spur on the back of my
Hmm.
elbow. So had to get that taken off in May of 22, and then stayed that summer, rehab, did all that fun stuff, I guess. And in October, figured out I had torn my UCL. So ended up getting Tommy John right after that, about 5 or so months after. So
So after that, you decide to take the JUCO route and you go to Cloud County Community College. Before you chose Cloud, what all JUCOs reached out to you, and what was one of the ultimate decisions to choose Cloud?
yeah, I mean, I had a handful of junior college offers. I know I talked to Johnson County a little bit, talked to Iowa Western quite a bit, and then a few other just JUCOs kind of around the Midwest area per se. But no, ultimately ended up choosing Cloud County. I had some of my good buddies from high school that went there, and they loved their time there, and they thought the pitching coach and the head coach were both really good. Coach Gillen and Coach Parr, they do a great job out there. So Parr's kind of a mastermind when it comes to pitching, and I was like, well, it doesn't sound like much of a better deal than that. So
So you guys had 40 wins that season. You were first team all NJCAA region, all KJCCC West pitcher of the year, first team KJCCC West. You had a 1.91 ERA, 15 starts, 7 wins, sixth in the NJCAA with 75.1 innings pitched, finished third in the KJCCC in strikeouts with 92, ranked second in the NJCCC, or sorry, the NJCAA with a 0.86 whip and a 10.99 strikeout to walk ratio. Okay, so during your time at Cloud, we're going to talk about some games, and I want you to tell me what you remember about them, okay?
okay.
First one up, Johnson County.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we went there. It was kind of a colder day. Wind was blowing out. And yeah, I mean, we were Cloud County's kind of looked at one of the more blue collar programs and Johnson County's kind of white collar. So there's always kind of an initial rivalry there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, just going into that, like all I was trying to do was do everything I can for my team and give us the best chance to win. And we were fortunate enough to come out of that game with a win. So
Next up is Barton.
Yeah. Yeah, they came to our place that day, and Cloud and Barton, they've always had a rivalry for as long as I can remember. So we all knew that was a big game. A bunch of people were fortunate enough to show up for that doubleheader. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of the same concept, just do whatever I can and give our guys the best shot at winning. So
Next up, Hutch.
Hutch, oh, I don't remember that game. What was the date?
I think it was around in March.
Around in March. Oh yeah. Yeah, I do remember that game. Yeah. Kind of came out. I think I struggled a little bit in the first inning and then maybe the first two, but then we ended up kind of pulling some things back together. And yeah, I don't really remember much of that game to be honest with you.
Butler.
Butler. Yeah, I remember that game. That was probably one of my rougher one of two games that I had. Yeah, I went down there, just didn't really have my best stuff. Was unfortunately. Um, and so yeah, I mean, just didn't quite have my best stuff that day.
KCK.
Yep, I remember. Yeah, that was down at Wichita.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a big game for us, and it got pushed back like 2 hours. I had just got done playing catch, was ready to get off the mound before the game, and they told us like, "Hey, we're shut down for a while," and so kind of had to try and stay as loose as I can. And actually, one of my good buddies, McLean Finley, he started that game too, and I've known him since high school and stuff, so that was pretty cool. But yep, yeah, I remember that game. That was. I ended up throwing pretty well, but unfortunately, McLean was a little bit better that day, and we took the loss. But
So the region tournament in Wichita, I want you to talk to me about getting there that season. And you know, after that season, what was it like knowing like this could have been your final season in JUCO?
yeah, I mean, just getting there, like I mean, from the fall and everything, we knew we had a pretty good squad. We had a few other pitchers. One just got drafted this last year, which was pretty cool to see. Our one of our other main pitchers we didn't even have for the year. He came down with Tommy John like 2, 3 weeks before the season, which probably would have changed the outcome of our season a little bit, for sure. But yeah, I mean, we kind of came together as a core group. Always was we're always hanging around each other and trying to do whatever we can to find a way to get better. So yeah, I mean, it was an awesome experience there. Definitely no regrets. But yeah, I mean, I kind of knew going there it was going to be like a one and done deal. Just try and get in and get out and
Yeah.
do everything I can, not only for myself, but for the boys and just try to go win as many games as possible.
So this past season in 2025, Cloud got to the KJCCC championship game.
Mhm.
What was your initial reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I stay in touch with Coach Gillian a little bit here and there, kind of when we have the free time for it. And he told me he's like we got a good staff. He's like we got some bats. He's like it looks like a good year. And I was like, oh, okay, sweet. So I kind of followed along throughout the year, and I was like, okay. I mean, definitely wasn't a bad year per se, but it wasn't maybe what he thought. And yeah, just kind of keeping tabs on it. They got on a hot streak and they rolled with it for a while, but.
What was your recruitment like out of JUCO before ultimately deciding on Mississippi State?
Yeah, so for about 2 to 3 weeks, it got pretty hectic. We threw at a thing at Creekside in September, I believe. Ended up throwing good there. Got some phone calls, and then we had I believe it's called the Sophomore Showcase down in Wichita.
Yep.
Went to that, threw very well there as well, and there was a video that got kind of thrown on Instagram and it got a decent amount of views and I started getting phone calls from practically all over the country. So it was hectic, but it was good.
So before ultimately deciding on Mississippi State, what was your final three?
My final three, actually, Nebraska was one of them, funny enough, and then Florida State and ultimately Mississippi State.
So Mississippi State 2025, you go to. 11 relief appearances. You went 2-0 with a 4.30 ERA. The first game I want you to talk to me about from this past season, Jackson State.
Yeah, Jackson State. It was a midweek game. It was we kind of treated most of midweek games as kind of just trying to get guys reps, and so I kind of knew as being a little bit towards the bottom of the barrel out of the bullpen. I kind of knew that was one of my days to shine, and yeah, I was fortunate enough to go out there and throw well. So
Next up is Samford.
Sanford, yeah, kind of the same deal. Another midweek thing. Kind of just got to go out there on a Tuesday night and do everything you can to try to get thrown on the weekends.
So now this is a bigger team, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that was my first 4-year outing. That was pretty cool down at the Astros ballpark, and wasn't really super expected. Kind of unfortunately had some things go wrong here and there, and next thing I know, I'm like, "Hey, you're going," and I was like, "Okay." So yeah, that was a pretty sweet experience. So.
Florida.
Yeah, we were down by a little bit, and I kind of knew my role was up or down by 10. Overall, didn't really throw that bad. I know I gave up a home run, but I went back and looked at the video. It was a good pitch. It's just that hitter made an incredible swing on it, and it's just kind of a tip your cap kind of deal. So
Ole Miss.
yeah, that was crazy. We got pushed back. We had to do a double header. The second game for it, I think. We we got it was like sixth in attendance, I think. But yeah, that first game it was kind of one of those deals. Like we were down by a few later in the game, just trying to save arms, and yeah, I was fortunate enough to go out there and throw well in front of a big crowd.
And then the last one, Missouri.
Yep, that was my last outing I had, and it was a rough for one. We were up by a ways. Had some things kind of fall through the cracks right before me, and then I was able to get out of that inning just fine. But then went out for the next inning and just kind of sprayed it all over the place. Left a fastball middle for a lefty, and he took advantage of it. So.
So after that season, you decided to go into the transfer portal. What was your recruitment like in the transfer portal?
Yeah, it wasn't super hectic, which I wasn't really expecting it to be very hectic. Actually, one of my first calls was Coach Childers here from Nebraska. I had a super good relationship with him from junior college and stuff, and he called me and he was like, "Hey, been watching you all year. Like, I know how we can get you back to kind of what you were in junior college." He's like, "I'd love for you to come up and let's make this thing work." And I pretty much knew from that first phone call, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna end up at Nebraska." So.
So after this past season at Mississippi State, what are the lessons that you learned, and what are your expectations going into 2026 with the Cornhuskers?
Yeah, I guess lessons that I've learned. Don't take hitters for granted is probably a big one. You kind of think that sometimes you might be able to get away with a bad pitch here or there, or maybe they kind of help you out, and it's like that's not always the case. You have to be mentally sharp 24/7, 365. Like there's absolutely no breaks. And yeah, I mean, expectations for this year, at least as a team, is to win our third Big Ten championship in a row and host a regional, host a super, and then make it all the way to Omaha and finish the whole thing out. So,
What is your welcome to JUCO and welcome to D1 moment?
ooh, well, I definitely know. Welcome to JUCO moment. We we had this thing called the pit that we did a few times. So basically, we're down by the old soccer field and kind of the hill behind the softball field as well. And it's not very long. It's about 15, maybe 20 minutes. We're in groups and it's just 6 or 8 different workouts, and whoever gets it done the fastest wins. And you just kind of rank yourselves based off of that. And it's kind of like if you weren't in that one or maybe two spot, you kind of got ripped into a little bit. Welcome to D1 moment. I can't really think of any. Um, I guess kind of a welcome to Nebraska moment. We have the first week we don't really practice. We'll play catch and stuff kind of on our own and we'll lift and whatnot, but it's 4 or 5 days, 6 a.m. and we start off with a cone drill. Day two, it's like a med ball mile. Day three, it's sled pushes and running around the stadium. So I guess that would be my welcome to Nebraska moment. Just we're blue collar, we're gonna outwork everybody and anybody in the country.
What are your favorite JUCO stories from your one season at Cloud?
Um, Juco stories. Ooh. Um, well, I guess it's not really a story, but it's just like being on the bus and sometimes in vans with the guys, just like it's long road trips. We're always together anyways, but it's like just hanging out with the guys on the road, having a good time. After a win, if it's a loss, we're pretty quiet on the way home, but that's kind of how it is. But no, I mean, just being around the guys. I was fortunate enough to have three great Canadian roommates. And they were awesome. And so no, I think just kind of everybody forced to kind of live next to each other practically, and we all naturally got super close. So that was awesome.
Okay, next that I have for you is what are your favorite JUCO places that you played at and D1?
Um, let's see. JUCO places. I'm trying to think. Um, Going down to Hutch was pretty cool. That ballpark's been around for a long time. I thought that was real neat. Actually going out to Colby was kind of cool. I know it's in the middle of nowhere, but
Yeah.
they have a super nice field. They do a very good job of maintaining it there. So that field was cool to be around. And then D1, I'm trying to think. Alabama's a super sweet ballpark. They had great atmosphere, I thought. And then going to Florida State for the regional was pretty cool, especially since I'd already been there on a visit and stuff. I kind of knew what the place looked like and all that stuff. And so that was pretty cool to see too.
Okay, next we're going to go through the 2024 roster that you played with, okay?
Okay.
So the first one that I want you to talk to me about, Gavin Roy, who's been on my podcast.
Yeah, G-Roy. He's a great guy. He's been doing well at Washington State. He's a super energetic guy. He's all in no matter what it is when it comes to baseball, and he's a guy he's always going to back you up, and no matter whatever happens. So no, G-Roy's awesome.
Paul Schuyler.
Paul Schuyler, yep. We actually got to play against him when Omaha came to our place this fall, so that was cool to see him again. No, Paul was probably one of my better friends at Cloud too. No, he's a great guy. He works his butt off and anything he does, so he's awesome.
Dmitry Shakotko.
Yeah, Shaq, he was
Shaq, yep.
yeah, our left fielder for us. He hit super well for us. Was great in the outfield. Kind of a quieter guy in some areas depending on the day, but no, he was a great person. He's tearing it up now. So
Scooter Ringette.
yeah, Scott.
Yep.
Yeah, Scoot's a great guy. Him and we got super close over the fall. We'd go out and we had our own little 9-hole pitch and putt that we kind of made up around campus, and so we'd go do that kind of throughout the week and just kind of let loose and have a good time. But no, Scott's an awesome guy.
TJ Coates.
Yeah, TJ. Yep, we got him at semester from Johnson. Didn't really know much about him. Didn't really have the fall to kind of get to know him that much. But no, it turned out he was a really good guy. And he was actually up here last year. Didn't Ended up missing him, but no, TJ's awesome. He was great for us on the mound and at the plate. So.
All right, this next guy was an assistant coach who I know really well, Cade Wallace.
Oh yeah, Cade Wallace. Yep, I saw him this winter actually. So because he runs barn baseball where I
Yep.
played at and stuff. So no, Cade was awesome. he was kind of the he was kind of one of the laid back coaches we had. Just he would he'd always talk to you about anything and everything. He'd kind of chop it up with you about whenever you wanted to, but he was also really good at like, hey, when it's go time, it's go time. Like he had no problem turning that switch on and off. So no, I think he was definitely great for us that year.
The interesting story. So, when I was at Coffeyville, he was there for like a semester, and then he
Hmm.
went back to Cloud. So that's how I got to know him. So,
Hmm.
but yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
yep. So next, what I want you to talk to me is what is the toughest lineup that you faced in JUCO in D1?
Um, JUCO, it's probably a toss up between KCK and Johnson. I mean, they both had a bunch of commits. Their numbers were really good all the way across the board. It was both super tough 1 through 9s. Yeah, I'd probably say those were two of the tougher lineups I faced. And then in D1, probably Florida, I think.
Okay.
We kind of when they came to our place, that's when they were kind of getting rolling and they couldn't miss a barrel no matter where it was. So it ended up unfortunately working out that they did that when they were at our place. But no, I think that was one of the better lineups we faced all year for sure.
What is something that you struggled with this past season that you want to improve on?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the bigger things for me was just commanding the baseball a little bit. Just we changed some stuff and I was all for it, trying to make it work, and unfortunately it just really didn't. So just for me, it's just getting back to commanding the baseball on all sides of the plate.
What are some things to expect on the Division One level?
Yeah, I think obviously it's different wherever you go, based off of coaches and kind of players and stuff and different coaching styles. But I think for me, it's that like 99% of the time you're never going to be the best guy in the locker room. And I think it's just you kind of got to go in there and it doesn't nobody cares what you did in high school or JUCO at your old school. It's like you show up and it's a new year. You could be a starter for 2, 3 years, and next thing you know, you're bottom of the barrel. So I think it's just understanding that work is constant and you can never take a break from it.
So next, Kevin, I want to go back to where you said in the beginning. So before you went to Topeka Seaman, where did you go to?
So I was at Jefferson West High School. It's
Okay.
Meriden, Kansas. It's just northeast of Topeka a little bit. So
So what was that transition like from that school to the big school like Topeka Seaman?
actually, it was pretty easy. So I grew up in the Seaman School District.
Okay.
I was at Seaman for my first semester, my freshman year. So I pretty much knew everybody already, and I was just going back for baseball, and I walked in there, and everybody was like, "What are you doing here?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm back going to school here, I guess." So, yep.
What is your biggest source of motivation during challenging times?
Um, I think it's just remembering that, like, I think it's a little bit of two things. Remembering that 5-year-old kid that first watched MLB baseball and was like, "Hey, I want to do that." And then just, I think secondly, it's like knowing that God's got me here for a reason. And I might take me 10, 15 years to figure that reason out, but God's got me here for some sort of reason. And it's just do everything I can and everything I can for him. So
Okay, so now, Kevin, I want you to talk to me about your testimony.
yeah, so never really grew up, never grew up going to church really. Just wasn't really a thing we did as a family, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that. And then at the end of my time at Cloud, the girl I was dating, who I was fortunate enough to get married to about a month and a half ago, she was like, "Hey, you want to come to church with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So ended up going to church with her and thought, "Oh, okay." Like I like this stuff, and I was real fortunate enough last year to have a real good group of guys on the team who went to church, and so I kind of got going to church a little bit and starting to kind of dive into the Word and learn more about God. And just, yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Was fortunate enough to get baptized right around a year ago. And so, no, I mean, it's been great just kind of almost looking through life in a different perspective and just realizing that doesn't really matter what goes on here
Right.
at Earth. Like it's just you do everything for him and have put all your faith in him and do everything you can and end up in heaven. So
So next thing that I have for you is what is the biggest thing you noticed transitioning, sorry, from high school to D1 to JUCO back to D1?
yeah, I mean, I think it's just a realization of like every level of baseball is good now. I mean, there's no level of baseball that's quote unquote bad. Like there's talented players everywhere, and they just maybe didn't get seen as much. But yeah, I think it's like everybody has a little bit different coaching style, but in the end, if you just have to kind of stick to what you know and stay true to your roots.
What are some of your favorite things about JUCO?
Biggest thing for me, like I said earlier, is just always being around the guys. And it's like we all went through all the same stuff that everybody else had to go to. We had some different paths and whatnot, but kind of meeting a lot of new guys, especially playing with 15 Canadians. That was cool to get to know them better and kind of understand how they do things up there. So that was really cool. But yeah, I think it's just having a good time with everybody. Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me.
So what do you do for fun?
Basically anything outdoors, whether
Okay.
it's golf, hunting, or fishing, just trying to find a way to get out of the house. So,
I like that. I'm a big fisherman. So
yeah, yeah.
how do you stay mentally locked in during the season?
I think it's the biggest thing that I kind of had to figure out, especially when I was in junior college, because I didn't play my first 2 years, was just understanding that it's a long season. There's a lot of baseball, especially if you have a little rough patch in that first half, like there's a lot of baseball to be had. There's still a lot of opportunities for you to prove yourself, and it's staying rooted in what you know and what you do, and just doing nothing but trusting the process.
So next thing that I have for you, Kevin, is there are some topics in college and I want to know your thoughts on them. So the first one is what is your thoughts on NIL?
Yeah, I think overall it's great. I think the concept is good. I just don't know if the application is right, truthfully. I'm not very knowledgeable about it, to be honest with you. I know a little bit about how it works, but not really. So I think overall, I think it is super good for college players. I just think there might be some different ways, but I don't really know any better ways to go about it. So
What is your thoughts on the transfer portal?
kind of the same thing too. I think it's great for kind of guys like me that was unfortunate to get let go from last year and trying to find a home, but I think there needs to be some sort of limitations to maybe how much you can get in the portal in 1 year, depending on your situation. And so, yeah, I think there's just need to find some sort of rules or regulations to monitor it a little bit.
So the new rule is the Diego Pavia rule, the extra year eligibility rule. So if you're a senior, there's a chance you get granted or denied this extra year. What is your thoughts on that moving toward the future?
Truthfully, I didn't even know that was a thing. I hadn't really been told about it, so I couldn't tell you. No.
Okay. Um, in your whole baseball career, what season means the most to you and what coach means the most to you?
Yeah, I mean, the only season for me that really matters is this next one in 26. I think like whatever happened has happened. It doesn't nobody really cares about it anymore. It's what we can do out here and the coaches that matter to me is just everybody that's here at Nebraska. Like they're the they're the coaches I'm with. I invested everything I have into them. Was I got my wife up here too, and so it's just everything I have is embedded in them.
What is your walkout song to the mound?
I haven't picked it yet. I'm not quite
Okay.
sure. We don't have to upload those yet, so I'm not really sure which direction I'm gonna go. So
Okay, so this next one, what advice do you have for JUCO players, high school players trying to make it to the next level like you have?
put every egg you have into one basket. Don't leave yourself any cop outs or any regrets, and just especially for JUCO guys, embrace the suck. Like there's gonna be days where you're on a bus for 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours, and then you might get your butt kicked back-to-back games, and then you got to go home and be ready to do it 2 days later. So just embrace the suck, learn to forget, and just give everything you have and know that whatever reason you're there for, or whether it's succeeding or failing or whatever it may be, just know that God's got you there for a reason.
Okay, this next one, what three people do you know in D1 that have not been on the podcast? Also the minors that went JUCO that you'd want to see on the podcast.
Um, Robert Fortenberry would be pretty cool.
Okay.
He's kind of bounced around, he's got a cool story. Let's see, he would be good. I'm trying to think of any other guys. I think Scott Ringwett would be good too, because
Yeah,
he's
he came on.
oh, he did? Oh,
Yep.
okay. Um, let's see. Trying to think.
I have not had McConaughey on yet.
Yeah, he would be a good one too. He would be really good. Trying to think of anybody else. Have you had Carson Latimer on here?
I have not yet.
He would be another really good one to do. He had an interesting path when he was at Cloud, so he would be good too, I think.
Okay, the next one that I have for you is what made you get into baseball in the first place?
I think it was just the little kid that first saw it, and parents were able to kind of get me started on playing baseball. And when we moved down to Kansas, kept me playing, and it was just always had a love for it. So
What sacrifices have you had to make to pursue your athletic dream?
the biggest thing is just time, whether that's spending time with friends or spending time with my wife and hanging out with her and going to do things with her. But yeah, I think spending time with my wife, friends, and family is probably the biggest thing.
Okay, so next, going into this 2026 season with Nebraska, what are some things that you learned at Mississippi State that you want to take with you going into Nebraska that you didn't know before in JUCO?
Um, oh, just just go be yourself, no matter what it is. Go be yourself. Understand that it's a long season. There's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, no matter what it is, and you just got to be able to forget as soon as you let go of that ball. Like you have no control over it, and just trust that all the work you've put into the fall and winter and summers of all the previous years has led up to that exact pitch you're throwing. So.
Out of your career, what is your favorite game that you've ever played in?
Um, Probably for me was that Barton game when I was at Cloud County. That was a super cool moment for me. So
Okay, the next thing, what was the transition like going from the South to Nebraska?
yeah, I mean, I don't think it wasn't super difficult, truthfully. I guess the only thing was I lived on my own for most of the fall until I got married, just because I didn't want to have to deal with trying to get out of a lease or sign a short one, find one. But no, honestly, it wasn't super difficult. So.
What is your guys' workout program like on the Power 5 level?
Yeah, I mean it doesn't look like your typical lift per se. A lot of movements are a little bit different. The biggest thing is we try to incorporate some sort, especially for the pitchers, and the position players do it too, but we always try to incorporate some sort of whether it's scap or shoulder, some sort of arm care work into every workout. So
So, with your pitching coach that you have at Nebraska, what have you learned the most from him that you're going to benefit off from going into this season?
I think the biggest thing for me is just keep it simple. Like I kind of like to get my head spinning sometimes and almost overthink things. And Coach Childress does a great job of just kind of reeling me back in and like it's not all that. It's just it's one simple thing, whatever that may be. So no, I think Coach Childress is great in all aspects of pitching and understanding it and coaching it. But I think for me that's the biggest thing is just getting down to the basics and keeping it simple.
What is your thoughts on the Thunderdome
Thunderdome.
in Cloud?
Oh yeah. No, I mean I think it's awesome. We had some really good times there. So
With so your guys' gymnasium, the atmosphere that you guys are able to create in basketball, how do you feel like that is going for other teams trying to come and play into there? Because you guys like to get rowdy. I'll say
oh yeah.
that.
Yeah, I know we're always when we're there, it's all in. I mean, we and I think a big part of that is we know a lot of the basketball players there. And so we kind of get to know them throughout the season and stuff. And actually the four of them lived right above me when I was there. So we got to know those guys pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I think it was super tough for teams to come into that environment. And yeah, so I mean, it was awesome. So
The last two that I have for you today, Kevin, is I want you to talk to me about the culture of Cloud Community College.
yeah, I mean, it's super blue collar. It's a hey, we're gonna outwork everybody in every aspect of not only the game but in the weight room as well. I mean, we're always in there pushing each other and trying to find ways to get better and whether it's baseball or just in the weight room getting stronger. So I think it's just we're gonna outwork everybody and we're gonna find a way to be on top. So
And then the last thing I have for you today, with you being a D1 bounce back, do you think taking the Juco route was one of the best decisions you've ever decided in your career?
yeah, I absolutely I think it was it helped give me an opportunity that unfortunately I didn't have at K-State I think it really helped me kind of figure out who I was not only as a baseball player but just as a person. I think Cloud County was super great for me and not just baseball but life. I mean, I found my wife there, so that part's pretty cool too. So no, it was awesome.
Well, Kevin, I really appreciate you for taking the time out of your day, man, and I wish you best of luck this upcoming season. Go ball out.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Most definitely.